everybody. You guys know I like to start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this show possible. Guys, if you have not seen, Bluon has released their 2.0. It is awesome. They really listened to everybody, and they made it so easy. They simplified things. Something that maybe took 4 or 5 clicks of a button now takes 1. It's literally 3-4 clicks to complete the process. It is absolutely amazing. I have some news I'm going to be releasing with them. I want to say it's like sometime next week. I can't say anything yet, but it is awesome. I am so pumped about it. I have somebody from Bluon, Mr. Vinny, coming out to see me. So I'm going to be spending some time with him here in the next week, which is absolutely going to be amazing. I can't wait to see Vinny. He's going to come out and show my team some things about the Bluon app. Absolutely pumped. But guys, check out the Bluon 2.0. It is amazing. So simple. You put in your part number, the model number of what you're working on. It will bring up every part, every manual, everything associated with that. If you need that part, you can send it over to your local supply house. It will give you a quote on what it is. If you want to put it on will call, that's great. It'll be on will call. You don't get charged till you go pick it up. That way, if you're a technician, you don't get in trouble. If you order something by accident. But it'll tell you if it's there, and then they have Bluon delivery. It's literally like fucking Uber Eats, where you can have the part delivered to you, whether it's your shop or if you're on location at a customer's house or where customer's business, wherever it is. And you can watch it on your phone, just like when you order a sub, and you can see how long it's going to take. Guys, Bluon is revolutionizing. When they say they're upgrading the industry, they are not playing around. So guys, go check out the Bluon 2.0 app. Guys, next, FIELDPULSE. And I'm honest when I tell you guys about this. So at Beltway, we don't use FIELDPULSE, so I don't lie, but I have done all their demos. I have a test account to be able to play with this, and I do all the time. I go in and mess with it. I make fake calls. I set it up as if I was really using it because I want you guys to get my honest feedback. I don't want to recommend something to you guys that I would not use myself. The size company we are, we need to go to one of the bigger ones, but FIELDPULSE, if you're one of those mid-level guys, this thing is really, really awesome, and they are offering now a new promo. If you look in the link in the bio, the show notes, there's going to be a link for them. That is my link. If you click that, they are going to give you 25% off the annual subscription and then 10% off monthly. So if you buy it for the whole year, 25% off. If you do it on a monthly thing, it's 10% off. So the 25% off, that we just had one that was in April that they did away with. So this is the one that's for May now. 25% off annual subscription, 10% off monthly subscription. So if you're looking for a reliable CRM to be able to use, if you're one of those mid-sized companies, you're just trying to elevate yourself, bring yourself up with technology, go check out my friends at FIELDPULSE. And then last but not least, haven't been here in 2 weeks, so I got to show the sponsor some love. All right? Bear with me. Guys, Yellow Jacket. Guys, I always say this, man. Being in the trade for my dad, when I think of the industry and the brand and the tools that I use, I think of Yellow Jacket. And I always say this. I don't think that they're the fanciest and the flashiest tools out, because they're not. But damn it, I think you get what you pay for. I have literally beat the hell out of their tools over the years, and every time I hit the on button, they work. They do exactly what I need them to do when I ask them to do it, and that's what matters to me. I don't care if it looks flashy or, I can change the oil while taking a shit and doing handstands at the same time. That doesn't matter. I wanted to do what I needed to do, and some of their new products, all these ones on the screen right here, I have all 3 of them. This combustion analyzer, I think, is one of the best in class for the price. This Y-Jack Mano is absolutely amazing. Checking static pressure, checking your gas pressure for whatever you're doing. And then this recovery machine, I just let one of the guys use this last week, and he was like, holy shit, that thing recovered this refrigerant so fast. So guys, all I ask is if you're going to spend some of that summer money you're getting ready to make and you're going to buy some new tools, just give my friends Yellow Jacket a look. Worst case scenario, whatever manifold you buy, you should have Yellow Jacket hoses hooked up to it. All right? Remember, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. Let's get on to the damn show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States. And thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one, go. Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr., here on another hump day, another Wednesday night, here with my oldest daughter, Miss Riley, who wanted to hang out. Guys, thank you so much for sticking with me, man. I know I haven't been here for the last 2 weeks, and I've said this before. Each and every one of you who sent me some sort of message, whether it was an email, a text message, direct message on one of the social media platforms, I cannot thank you and tell you how much it meant to me going through a rough time. Like I said, I got some health things, cancer stuff going with my mom, and the last 2 weeks have been rough, just trying to find the new norm. So back on track. I love doing this podcast. This is my therapy. So when I don't do it, it gets me into a funk. I just had to work through some things. But all those messages literally meant the world to me. And I know it may only take, a minute, 2 minutes out of your day to send it, but I want to tell you it means the world, and thank you, each and every one of you, so much. And I promise you, I read every single one of them, even if I didn't reply back to you. Okay? So anyway, let's get on with this show, man. I am so excited to be podcasting again. I've been looking forward to this guest. We didn't get to talk much when we were in Atlanta, but he is a fellow 2023 HVAC Tactical Award winner. I think it's absolutely amazing, the stuff that he's doing, the stuff that he puts on, social media and stuff. That he's another one of those guys out there that's doing things the right way in a positive image. And that's one thing I say that Instagram is crushing. There's just so many killers on there that are just raising the bar and doing things the right way. And this guy is another one of them. So without further ado, guys, please help me introduce Mr. Matthew Waxer, the HVAC doctor.
What's going on, Gil?
What's up, buddy? And we didn't do this. We didn't mean to match. We noticed this.
We totally should have talked about apparel before we came on here. But, from one tactical award winner to another, as we were talking about before, now that we're live, again, I want to congratulate you on your very well-deserved tactical award for Best Podcast. Absolutely crushing it, brother. And just so happy to be here and chatting with you. And especially what was going on with your family and with your mom. I'm sorry that you're going through this rough patch. As people our age have parents that are, aging and getting older, we're going to go through patches of a lot of different health concerns and scares. And man, I'm sorry that you're going through it, but you are going to get through it. And you've got the support of a ton of people, man, and me included, brother. I know right now I'm going through not a cancer scare that I'm aware of, but health concerns with my father. He's 80 and we're going through some health struggles with him right now. So I feel your pain, and I kind of know, to a certain degree, the struggles and, the mental anguish that you're going through as well, brother.
Thank you, brother. I really, really do appreciate that. I really, really do. It's crazy, but you're right. It's one of those things, you'll just work through it. There's really not much that you can do. And congratulations on your award too. So it's awesome.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome that we do these awards and people get to get recognized. Never thought that I was going to be able to do it. Matthew, I guess if God forbid some people don't know who you are, they don't follow you, let them know a little bit about you and your background, my man.
Yeah, for sure. For those that don't know me, that are, devoted followers and audience for Gil's awesome podcast, my name's Matt Waxer. I'm a licensed refrigeration and air conditioning system mechanic and gas fitter level 1 in the Toronto, Ontario, Canada area. And people probably have found me most likely from Instagram under the page title, The HVAC Doctor. And something that some people know, depending on what podcast they've seen this face appear on, is that every aspect of that Instagram handle name is actually true. So the HVAC part of it is pretty obvious, given what I just said, being a licensed HVAC professional, licensed refrigeration mechanic and gas fitter. And then a lot of people get hung up and caught on the doctor bit, thinking that, oh, well, HVAC doctor, he fixes HVAC. He's got this whole infatuation or thing about, doctoring up HVAC. Well, no, the doctor part is also true. It's not medical. I do have a PhD in psychology and neuroscience, specializing in something called developmental cognitive neuroscience. In a previous life prior to HVAC, I was a researcher. And my area of interest in research was in looking at multitasking, task switching, and error processing, and what parts of the brain are involved in that, and how does that change across developmental time from being a child to an adolescent to an adult. So I did a lot of brain imaging studies using experiments to look at these different things. And what happened through my academic career was partway through my PhD, there was a fundamental change and shift in the retirement structure for university professors, which is what I was looking to do as a career. And they took away retirement at 65. So now there's professors in their 80s and 90s that, had things been different, one of those laboratories would probably be mine. And unfortunately, I wouldn't be sitting here having this awesome conversation with Gil. But things being what they were, I needed to find a different career. And I had always worked in the trades, even throughout my academic career. It wasn't in HVAC. It took me a while to find HVAC as a career and passion. So coming to the end of my academic studies, I went back working in carpentry and construction because that's what I knew. My uncle's a master carpenter. He trained me since like age 12 in carpentry. So I went back into that industry. After a couple years of working full-time doing that and trying to wrap up my PhD, I realized, well, I really can't be a carpenter for the rest of my life. Not knocking carpenters. It just wasn't for me. I needed something that was more engaging and involved multiple things. So stumbled around a few different trades and eventually fell into HVAC. And man, it knocked off all the boxes for me in terms of constantly, having to evolve yourself, constantly having to improve your game, constantly having something different and challenging, and being basically the king of the trades. Sorry, other trades, but we are the damn king of the trades. We've got to know a little bit of every single trade out there. We got to know some plumbing. We got to know some electrical. We got to know mechanical. We got to know physics. We got to know chemistry. We got to know it all. We got to know enough to do what we do. And that's why we are the damn king of the trades. Ain't that right, Gil?
Yes, it is, man. That's awesome, the story about how you got the name. Because when you told me that, I did not know that. And I thought exactly what you said other people would think, that it was the HVAC doctor fixing it. So it's an awesome story. And to realize that, that right there proves that not everybody in the trades or HVAC is just didn't get to go to college. I was too dumb to go to university, so I went to trade school. It's like, no, some people made a decision, made a choice to do this because it's an awesome job. It's an awesome trade. You can make an amazing living, and we could have been really good at something else, or we were really good at something else, and we chose this path. So that's awesome to hear that and see that,
You know the old adage, everybody's heard this. Stay in school, kids, go to college, go to university, you'll get a better job. I'm living proof that I should have gotten into HVAC long, long ago. Now, did my academic training in part make me the technician I am? In all likelihood, yeah, because I got to work on some really wacky stuff and I got to do some crazy, computer programming and stuff that really helps out what I do out in the field. Had I not gone that academic route, potentially I'm not the technician I am today. I'd like to think I would be, But there's also a good part of my mind that still says, man, I wasted a good chunk of my time following that stereotype of go to college, go to university, instead of going right into the trades where I've found my success and my actual passion in life is doing what I do, doing HVAC and talking about how it is such a great area to develop a career. And there's so many different areas within it to develop that career, right?
Yeah. I always say this, there's so many different avenues in this industry too. It's like there's the residential, the commercial, the industrial. People that have been following me have heard me say this story. A friend of mine that I went to trade school with, he makes a fortune. He works on dialysis machines because apparently it's the pressures and how they work is very similar to what we do. Like, there's so many avenues and we are always going to be needed. AI can't do our job. Robots can't do our job. And like Ben says, Ben Poole, master your craft. If you get really, really good at what you do, you're going to have a job. You're going to make really, really good money and nobody's going to take your job. We are in a short supply. So
Absolutely.
Just keep learning, keep educating, and it's amazing where this career can take you in this industry. I love it. I won't lie and say I chose it because I didn't. I always say HVAC chose me. I was a knucklehead. My dad did this, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And when I realized the opportunity that was placed in front of me and I started to run with it, that's when I was like, I feel like Willy Wonka. My dad just gave me the golden ticket. You know,
Damn right.
Yeah, the things that I'm able to do and provide for my family because of this trade is why I do this podcast, and I want to give back, and I want people to know about it because it's fucking awesome. It really is.
Damn right. It's the best career. If it is suited for you, it is going to be so rewarding. It's going to be one hell of a ride that you're always going to be needing to learn, evolve, change to developments in the field, developments in technology, for a number of your sponsors. Look what they're doing to change the industry. Sponsors like Bluon, what they've done to assist and change the industry from days prior where you're having to call in, heck, you get a page on a pager and you got to go find a payphone to call in to figure out what your next call is, to where we are today, where an individual can order their parts and have them friggin' Uber Eats delivered to them, or pull up a ton of different IOMs within that app for various products. For certain product lines, though, despite how, not knocking Bluon, despite how good it is, there's going to be certain product lines that they are not going to be able to touch and cover. And for those product lines, it's not a matter of it's a bad thing they're not with Bluon or a good thing that they're not with Bluon. It's just their thing. So a main product line that I work on, I know that they will sell Bluon refrigerant, but they will not release their parts lists to Bluon for them to then advertise and give out. It's a conversation I had with Bluon people at AHR Expo because I was wearing one of the hats. I know it's kind of blurred out on this, but one of the manufacturers that the company I work for that they rep, Bluon was very keen on talking to me about getting their, parts breakdown and parts numbers and manuals. Well, the manuals are freely available if Bluon wishes to source them out, but I know that this manufacturer will most likely not release their parts lists to Bluon for delivery because it has to go through rep firms, right? And there's other equipment manufacturers that'll be the same. Now, is that a good thing, bad thing? No, it's just a thing. It's a different thing. It's a different way of approaching it. So you just have to realize, like, Bluon is a tool. Just like other equipment manufacturers that choose not to associate themselves with that tool, they have their other different tools. And you got to realize what tool you need to use to get the job done right, given what you're working on.
Yeah, and I also think that Bluon is definitely geared more towards the residential side. So most of those brands, I know they're trying to get into other avenues, but things like that, they're always not going to play nice because maybe some of these other brands, they want to do their own app and they want people to come to them for the resources. And that makes sense. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Just like I use like Uber Eats or some of them as an example, there's some restaurants that use DoorDash and they don't use Uber Eats. It's the same thing with the manufacturers. Sometimes they pick and choose their different ways or different things or how they want to do different things. And that's just how the corporate world works. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong, you know? I can't
Just
read your
means
hat.
for
What
the
manufacturer
tech.
is that?
Oh, let's see if we can move that forward. How's that for focus?
Oh, Aon.
Aon Technical Academy. So
Yeah.
I got this hat about a month ago when I was in Parkville, Missouri for a training session. So I just recently did 2 different Aon Academy training sessions. The way that that particular manufacturer brand is structuring themselves, it's the technicians that work for the various rep firms that sell Aon products. They're going to want their technicians to be Aon certified, which means attending their various academy classes and passing their different exams to be, basically qualified as an Aon certified field technician.
I like that.
Is it something overly challenging and hard? It depends on your experience with the product line. So there's a number of Aon, for those that may or may not know in your community, it's a semi-custom air handling manufacturer. I'd like to think on a higher end level, comparable to other manufacturers that are out there like Addison or Engineered Air that are kind of in the same market, or higher end Daikin products. They're all good in their own way. I chose to work for a rep firm that sells Aon because I really enjoy working on the product. Is it a great product in my mind and opinion? Yes, it is. However, is it a perfect product? No, there's no such thing as a perfect product. Every product has issues. Yeah. And it's on the people going out to work on those products to resolve those issues. So my role and job title where I work is I'm a commissioning agent. So I'm the technician who goes out once the equipment is installed, and I make sure that it is commissioned properly and runs properly. And if there's anything that goes wrong during a warranty period, you'll see this mug appear on a site to fix what's gone wrong. And we'll get to the bottom of why something went wrong. Is it something with the equipment, something with the installation, something with the application? Is it something just with the part itself, the way it was manufactured? Because we know parts these days, they're not quite built like they were 20, 30 years ago. Things aren't typically built to last as long as they did before. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go out and change some parts out, fix some things, and restore proper operation for the customer. And part and parcel of what I also do in terms of being a commissioning guy and why I got this little thing was I help out people on the product line. It's a product line that not a lot of people work on. So I got reached out on social media for assistance on the product line when tech support's closed, or even when tech support's open, but there's a massive influx of calls. I'll get people reaching out saying, hey, I'm working on, an Aon product or a Condair humidifier or a Ceresco pool dehumidifier. I see you're posting a lot of stuff on your Instagram page with that. I'm in a bind. Can you help me out? And I'll take that time to pay back to our industry, to pay back, pay it forward to the person who's in a bind. Can I do it all the time right away? No, because I'm out in the field working as well.
Yeah.
But I will get back to those people and I will see if they still need help. I don't like to leave fellow technicians stranded. If you're working on a product line that I have a lot of knowledge on, this is a thing that really grinds my gears in the industry. People who hold on to knowledge about something without sharing it, thinking that they're going to be better at the industry or they're going to have job security because of that. Because we're uncensored, fuck that. Pay the knowledge forward. The way I look at it is if I teach you what I know and teach you to do what I can do, I'm not the one who always has to go and do it. Build up the community stronger. Pay it forward. Share that knowledge freely. And if you're not, get out of it. Get out of my industry.
Amen, dude. Amen. I agree 150% with that. I will say Aon is more commercial industrial, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So like I told you my story, how I started out there. I saw a few Aon things back in those days, but then when I went more to the residential side, I'll be honest, I don't really see them where I work now. But most of the people I heard always loved them. I heard a few people that didn't like them, but to be honest, knowing those people, they never educated themselves, so I never really took what they said to heart because I knew probably the equipment wasn't the problem, it was them. But I do love any manufacturer that says, hey, you can't put in my product unless you take this class or this class or this class, because it helps everybody. You know the ins and outs about the product. You're going to install it properly. You're going to know those little quirks that they have. Like, oh man,
Absolutely.
when you're brazing in this valve, you got to make sure that you come out with an elbow because of the or something stupid. You know what I mean? And you know that, and it's better for everybody. The consumer, the customer is going to get what they're supposed to be getting. You're not going to have any headaches because you did something wrong, not intentionally meaning to do that. You just didn't know. I love that kind of stuff. Before
Definitely.
I forget, how did you love coming down for training in the old US of A?
Always love coming down to the United States. A lot of people, depending on how long I spend in the States and where I am, I start developing an accent for that particular area. So, a week and a bit in Parkville, Missouri, and I started developing a bit of that southern drawl, Some time down in Tulsa last week, a little bit of it. For me, coming down to the States or wherever I'm going for IOM, my manufacturer training, it's, for me, a matter of increasing my knowledge. And more importantly, it's about networking. Because you're going to a training session with like-minded professionals or people who are supposed to be like-minded professionals to learn about a product and be better at it and be better at what they do on that product. So, a month ago, I was in a place called Parkville, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City, again for an Aon training session at a location affectionately called The Cave, because it is literally located inside a cave. Parkville, Missouri has a deep and mining tradition and deep mining community. They're still mining there, a lot of limestone mines and other mines. And when they're done in a particular mining location, instead of just abandoning the mine and closing it off, they've actually repurposed a number of them into office spaces. One of the mines, Aon Controls, formerly Wattmaster, before Aon purchased them, is located in this facility. So it is unique going into a training facility that is underground. And as soon as you go under, you have zero cell phone reception. You're down in there, man. Unless you're doing Wi-Fi calling. But the facility they have there, in terms of climate control, because you're underground, it's maintained consistently because you're in that conditioned environment. Very unique setting, awesome training, awesome teachers, learned a ton. Even though I've worked on the product line for well over 5 and a bit years, still learned a lot during that training session. I know we had a fellow Red Seal Inc. Instagram member of mine out in the West Coast. I got to mention HVAC J604, the best IG West Coast personality that I know. He had made a mention of a question of, Matt's been away for training. What were his best meals in the United States for those 2 training sessions? Well, it was in Kansas City, because Kansas City barbecue is, oh man, so good. There's a lot of other places across the United States that have great barbecue. Kansas City barbecue it's its own little beast. There's a number of great barbecue joints across there that I hit up during that training session. Do I have a favorite one? No, I don't. There's a number of them that do certain things a little bit better than others. Just like HVAC equipment, certain manufacturers do a little thing better than others or a little thing different, just like these restaurants. They were all very good in their own right. If I had to make some recommendations for Kansas City barbecue for your audience, if anybody's in that area or going to be traveling through there, I'd recommend hitting up the original Joe's barbecue joint that was taken over an entire gas bar. The late, great Anthony Bourdain, for those who know the name, he recommended that place as one of the 13 places to eat before you die. It was damn good ribs. Probably the best mac and cheese that I had out of a barbecue joint in that area during my time there. Their burnt ends were awesome as well. If you're looking for amazing brisket and, again, great burnt ends, because burnt ends are a Kansas City thing, hit up Q39 if you're in the area. Really, you can't go wrong with a barbecue joint in Kansas. People who say, oh, I'm the best barbecue joint, or, this other place, oh, I'm better at that. Food is such a thing that it's so individual preferenced. One place can't just say, oh, I'm the best at this, and everybody agrees. Everybody's going to have an opinion on what they prefer. Everybody's taste palette's going to be different. Yeah. So what I like for food, Gil, you might not like, or somebody else in the chat might not like. But, generally speaking, we're all going to agree that it's probably really good food. Where else was I? I was in Tulsa last week, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Unfortunately, Tulsa's food was not as good as Kansas City, in my humble opinion. Not knocking people in Tulsa. If there's anybody in here, can we change the subject? Yeah, I am going to change the subject to something really cool that I saw while I was at training. During the last day that I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we sat in the morning, we sat an exam for the training session that we went through, and you had to get at least a 75 on that to pass, which all the guys attending did. And after we did our test, we went for a tour of the production facility and a few other very interesting and unique places. So it was very cool to actually walk the production floor and watch some of these AAON rooftop units be put together and how they put them together. For me, what was the most cool thing to go see was something called their Innovation Center and Test Lab. Now, this place is the only place in the world currently that can do what it does. If you've never seen the AAON Innovation Center, or called Norman, I'm going to butcher his last name, Norman Adgerben Innovation Center, it's a I think actually the final price was closer to $40 million test lab that have test bays that they can actually bring in a unit just over 100 tons of cooling capacity. And they can do acoustic testing on it, test basically how the unit's going to sound. So in an upper bay and lower bay, so what it's going to sound like in the upper bay outside and in the lower bay inside, basically in the office space. And they also have weather chambers. So at 1 minute, they can have a unit being tested as if it was in the desert of Nevada. They can simulate, a little bit later on, they can bring it down to another test bay and they can simulate it being in -20 weather with snow. They can make it snow in the middle of summer inside this place.
That's bad.
When they first brought that place online, it was summertime. I think it was about in the mid-90s in Tulsa. And they were having snowball fights inside this lab. They also have, there's so much cool stuff in that lab. Oh, they can do earthquake simulations, hurricane weather. They've done not only just testing their product line, but, people are paying to bring their products into this facility. So Harley Davidson brought in their motorcycles to the acoustic lab testing bay. Because of new EPA requirements, they had to modify their exhaust system, but they still want it to have that classic Harley sound. AAON Tulsa Innovation Lab was the only place to go to have their shit tested proper. That's the kind of money this manufacturer is dumping into making sure that they push the bar and that they can be that much better moving forward. Now, are there still issues with the units that I get? Damn right. Anytime you have human hands manufacturing something, there's going to be errors.
Amen.
But you know what? My job as a startup and commissioning technician is to catch that shit and make sure that it's fixed and the end user has the best experience with that product. When I'm done doing my job and doing it properly, I don't want to have to come back to the site that I had commissioned these units on. If I did my job right, the installing contractor is the end user. It's a one-time meet and greet because I'm not necessarily doing the maintenance on the facility. I start up the equipment, make sure it's started up right, and then we make sure that the people looking after the equipment have the knowledge and power to do their job properly on that equipment. And that's going to give the best experience to people.
Yeah, I'd love to see a place like that. That sounds awesome. I've heard of them, and I've got to see some residential ones. Like, I've been to Carrier Factory, I've been to Goodman, I've been to Lennox. I'm supposed to go back to Lennox. So I've seen some residential ones, which that's cool, but I'd love to see something like that. I've heard of places like that. I can't imagine too many of them exist, so that's probably the place that I heard about, because that sounds fucking amazing. I would love to see something like that.
Yeah, the cool thing that we did when I was going for my tour there is they have 2 chiller pack units outside of the facility that are used basically, to keep the test labs operational and get rid of the heat load produced by it. And one of the units I got to walk into, and I'll text you, I'll DM you a few pictures of it later on. It was a 540-ton chiller pack unit used for part of the lab.
Holy shit.
I walked into the compressor section, and it had, I believe, 3 or 4 Danfoss turbo core compressors just purring away, keeping that place running proper, man. I'm not a chiller guy. I'm not a chiller mechanic, but I can respect and see the awesome stuff that's put into one of those things and respect the amount of work and the knowledge that a person who works on that equipment has to have. Yeah. And Danfoss turbo core compressors, man, those are a different breed of compressor for a chiller.
I saw a video about one of those where it was, what was it? It was like a guy about an engine. He's like, listen to this baby purr. And then the guy had one of those and he was like, no, listen to this baby purr or something like that. That's how I first found out about those damn false compressors you're talking about. I wish they made more for residential, because obviously in the residential world, it was always Copeland. The Copeland Scroll was kind of like the residential guy. And now you got LG and, all these other people getting there and they fucking suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I always tell people that, compressors are murdered. They don't die. The way those things are built, if everything's doing what it's supposed to do, those things should outlive the system. If they go bad, something caused them to go bad, no matter what size the compressor is.
Yeah, I'm going to answer a couple questions popping up in this chat, if that's cool, Gil.
Go ahead.
Jason, you say you want to buy your own USB Link 2 for Aeons. So depending on where you're located, those should be freely available for purchase from your local Aeon rep. The software that you'd use to hook up to an Aeon unit called Prism 2, that's a free download from Aeon. So really, you just need the interface tool, which is the USB Link 2. HVAC Blogger does the test lab simulate working on a system in the middle of a thunderstorm. They're not going to be sending, electric bolts and strikes down into a unit in the test labs, but they can simulate, high wind and gale force conditions. And who in their right mind is going to
conditions?
Yeah.
Sorry.
They can simulate, hurricane-like activity in there. Is anybody going to be working on those systems in the middle of those kind of, weather conditions? No. And if you're forced to, or someone's trying to force you to,
quit.
Guess what? Tell them to go fly a kite out in that weather. It's not safe to do so.
Yeah, no.
Just don't.
That's crazy. Sometimes, like I said, we were talking off air, like how I thrived in the residential side because of my mouth and communication and stuff. Part of me sometimes misses like that side, the industrial commercial side, because of the complexity of the equipment and really making your brain work. And I'm not saying residential stuff's easy, but let's be honest, it's way easier to work on than that stuff. I mean, it has the basics. Refrigeration is refrigeration, no matter the size of it. But I do miss working on some of those things sometimes. That's why when I hear other people talk about it, I still find it fascinating, and to hear about the new stuff that's coming out, because I don't know, I'm an HVAC nerd. That stuff's always been fascinating to me.
Yeah. I don't care what area of our industry you work in. And residential, commercial, industrial. There's cool shit to work on in all of them.
Yeah.
And to say, for me, your statement of, residential does it easier or, not as complicated, I don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with it. It's a bit of a stereotype, right?
Yeah.
To me, at least, because with the development and further development of residential HVAC equipment, you're going to see more and more control boards, more and more need to interface with a laptop and computer. The technology is getting more and more complicated and advanced. Gone are the days of, well, not gone yet, but gone will be the days of just your regular thermostat of, heat on or cool on. And it's just a, contactor outside to turn on your compressor when you have a Y1 call for cooling. Or, you have a W1 call for heat on your furnace and, it brings on your heating and your heat anticipator then brings on your blower. Stuff's getting a hell of a lot more complicated in the residential side, especially with the changes in different laws across America, moving towards, SEER 2 and all that other good jazz. Things are going to get more complicated just out of necessity. Is it going to get to, air quotes, the level that commercial does or certain aspects of commercial does? I don't care. It doesn't matter how complicated the piece of equipment is. If you want to put a thing of complicated on it,
True.
It's can the technician do their job effectively on the piece of equipment? For me, that's what matters at the end of the day. And I don't care if the technician our industry is predominantly male. I don't care if it's guy, girl. Send someone who can work on it and work on it properly. We talked about this off air. Our industry is in a massive skilled trade shortage. And, there's guys like, Pat Finley, Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, who rightfully, went on a little bit of a rant this week saying a problem with our industry is how do you think we can stop the skilled trades gap by hiring guys like my age in their mid 40s or in their 50s? You're just delaying the inevitable of there still being that massive gap.
Yeah.
We've got to hit kids early. We got to, break that stereotype that I fell into, given my education background, of go to school. You're going to get a better job. Well, I'm not knocking go to school. If your career path dictates where your interest is, go to school. Go to school. You need to do that. But if your interest is in onto skilled trades, you don't need to go the route I went. You don't need to spend the time I did getting the academic certificates I did. I spent 14 years of education after high school getting a PhD. Do you need to spend that time? No. Go into the trades. Go into the skilled trades. You're going to learn at what you like if that's what you want to do. You don't have to go the route I did. Now, if you did, I'd finally have someone who has the academic credentials I have that we can powwow about. There's a lot of people that have gone to college, have done an undergraduate degree. I honestly have yet to find someone who has gone as far as I did in the academic world to then find their success in the skilled trades. It's something I should have done in retrospect, because hindsight is always 20/20, right?
Yeah.
Something that I wish I had done earlier in my life. However, as we talked about off air, if I had gone into what I do for a career, not given the background I have, would I be the technician I am? Maybe, maybe not. That's unknown. But my path into the trades is my path. Everybody's going to carve their own path and find their own success. My background that I have, a lot of people go, oh, you wasted your academic career. Why'd you waste so much time doing that just to end up in the trades? And there's a big thing called transferable skills. What I did in my academic world, a lot of that transfers into what I do today. And a lot of that makes me the technician that I am today. I'm not saying I'm the best. No one can claim that they're the best at what they do. But I'm pretty darn good at what I do. I'd like to think I am. And why I'm pretty darn good at what I do is for any technician that's watching this podcast or is going to be listening to it, your job does not stop when you put the tools away for the day. When you go home, there's a very wise man that you saw walk up to the stage at AHR Expo to accept an award for Mentor of the Year, Mr. Trevor Matthews. And Trevor, for those who don't know that name, Trevor Matthews, or haven't followed him or don't
He's
know
been on the show.
Refrigeration Mentor, go follow him now. You're going to be a better person for picking up tidbits of knowledge from Trevor on compressors and rack refrigeration and CO2. Trevor's mindset is right for our industry, in my opinion. When I'm done working for the day, I'm coming home, I'm putting time into my social media platforms to put out what I did for the day. I'm putting time into reading IOM manuals. I'm putting time into reading other equipment manufacturers' manuals to make me competent and able to talk about what the industry is doing and where the industry is changing and what different manufacturers are doing. And that's unpaid time. That's time you need to invest yourself to make yourself a better technician that next day. And if you're not doing that, I'm sorry to say, you're going to be left in the dust of people who are. I'm not the only one who does it. There's a lot of technicians that do, and those are the technicians that business owners, that people like Gil want working for them, that want working alongside them. Those people that I want working alongside me. And that's overly preachy, so I'm going to cut it at that.
No, dude, amen. I say it all the time. I got sick of not knowing things, so I put my face in the books, and I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. And I'm not even technically in the field anymore, because I'm running a business, I'm running a company, but I still learn, read this, read that, watch a video, a podcast, a book, something to make myself better, because now I have to teach people how to do these things. I have to inspire them to want to do exactly what you just said. And if I'm not doing it myself, then I can't be a hypocrite. But if I go in and I'm like, hey, man, I just read this book about this new inverter or whatever that just came out, man, about this compressor that works different and does this or something. They're like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? You have to do that. And I agree. If you're doing that, then you're constantly going to keep excelling in this industry. That's why I say at the end of every show that nowadays, there's no reason to say, I don't know something. With all the resource at our fingertips, if you want to know something, you could find the answers. So if you don't know, it's because you really don't want to know. I mean, that's the truth.
In part, yes, I do agree with that. In part, that is the truth. Are there going to be situations where technicians and mechanics are placed to work on equipment where they don't know the equipment? If they're worth their weight in gold and someone comes up to them and says, why isn't this fixed yet? I called you in to fix it. And they honestly don't know how to work on that piece of equipment. They'll understand the basics of how it works. They're not necessarily trained on it. They can honestly say, I'm unfamiliar with this product.
True.
That is not an admission of weakness.
No, that's
where the strength comes in is saying, I'm not trained to work on this piece of equipment, but I know where I can get the answers. I know who to go ask to, get the answers I need to solve your problem. I'm the one that was brought in. You asked me to come do a job because you don't have the knowledge to do it. I may not have all the pieces to work on it. I may not have all the knowledge right this second to work on it, but I know where to reach out to get that knowledge. That's what makes a person a better technician, knowing where to get the answers they need to work on a piece of equipment. Like the equipment lines that I work on, I don't know every single in and out of it. I know a lot of it, but guess who I'm calling? I'm calling manufacturer tech support. For those working on, other products, like you say within the residential market or like commercial, that individuals at Bluon have knowledge on, reach out to their technical support and they'll help you out. They'll get you the answers you need, or reach out to the actual manufacturer. Find the source of knowledge that will have the answers you need to get the issue resolved. That's what makes someone, a better technician. Do you need to know it all right now to steal Gary McCready's Instagram brand name? of HVAC know-it-all? Nobody can know it all. You can be knowledgeable on a product line, but you will never know every single in and out of everything, let alone a single product line. But can you know the people that might have that answer? Damn right. You absolutely damn right you can.
Yeah, and it's also the inner desire in you. And you're 100% right. There's those situations, and that tech's not at fault. They just haven't learned it yet. But the good technicians in that situation, when they leave it, will have the desire to now want to learn about that. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? They're like,
Damn
you know
right,
what?
yeah.
I won't let that happen again. I'm going to look into these, or I'm going to go to my boss and be like, hey, if we're going to see these units, can I get some training on them? You know, and you may disagree with me, but if that situation happens 4, 5, 6 times and that technician didn't, then now that technician doesn't really want to know.
Yeah, I can agree with that. If they're working on the same product and they're not advancing their knowledge base on that product and they're having that issue that you're highlighting, then absolutely, I 100% agree with you on that one, Gil. Now, can they have, working on that same product and, experience different issues that they need to reach out for additional support? Absolutely, they can. But if they're having the same issue over and over and over again on that product line, they're not learning. They're not applying themselves. They don't have the drive. And like I said earlier, for individuals like that, get out of our industry.
Yeah.
You're holding a place for someone that actually should be doing what we do, someone that has that drive to do what we do.
Yeah, and like I say, I always use like sports, because whether you're a big sports person, you know enough about it that the best athletes in the world, they don't just go to practice and then work out with the team and stop. When they're done, they're going and doing individual workouts. They're working out on days off. Just like you said, you get home from work, you're not getting paid, but you're reading a manual, you're reading a book, you're watching a video, something. There's always a way. And I used to be this person, so I get it. I'm so busy. I don't have enough time. You know what? Something as small as every time you take a dump, reading a book, watching a video, it's amazing how much time that we waste, especially as Americans in this society, like how much time that we waste in a day that we think we're so busy. But when I started like setting schedules for myself and setting timers, I started being so much more productive, getting more things done, finding myself, oh, I really want to read this book. And I'm not a big book reader. Ryan, he's the owner of my company. I run his company, but he's awesome with books. And he got me into reading and got me reading some awesome books. So I would like set a schedule like, hey, 7:00 tonight or 9:00 tonight after you put the girls to bed, like read this book. And I set timers in my phone to go off and it says read book, asshole, or something like that. And I'll do it. And it's amazing how much more I can get accomplished. Or even at work when it's like, I'm going to work on this particular task for 45 minutes. I'm not going to try to bounce around and do this, this, and this. I'm going to work on this one thing for 45 minutes, and when that's done, I'll move on to the next thing. And it's amazing I can knock shit out now, rather than being like, oh, let me do this. Oh, let me hop over and touch this for a little bit. So, sorry, I went off on a rant there about schedules. But it's amazing how much that you can learn, how much time you have to be able to get better.
Yeah, and when you devote that time to apply yourself to a dedicated task, all your attention is on that task. You're laser focused. And you're going to get shit done, just like what you said. And going back to your point of, the technician, say, who's having the same issue over and over again, or the opposite, the technician who goes out to a piece of equipment who may not know that piece of equipment, but has that desire and that drive to learn, to do better. If they're anything like I am, if I get sent into that situation, when I'm coming home, I'm pulling out every single and sourcing every single manual and piece of information I can, and I can't sleep. I got to know. Like, I got to get to the bottom of the problem. There's times where I'm digging into something, looking into an issue, then I look down at my clock, I'm like, holy shit, it's 3 a.m. I got to get up at 5. I better go get some shut-eye. I got to set that timer alarm to say, hey, shut it down and go get some sleep, dumbass.
Yeah.
Without sleep, you're not going to do your job right.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to sleep. And another thing that I repeat all the time, and in my position responsible for training and making sure that the technicians that work for us have the tools, the resources, the vans, whatever it is to be able to do what we ask them to do. When it comes to the training part, Jim Bergman always said, you don't really know something until you have to teach somebody else. So I always really, really want to know things so that when I'm explaining it to them, like I may be able to go do it and fix things, but I want to make sure that I can explain it to them in a way that they'll understand. Even if I think I know something, I try to learn it on a different level, like microscopic level, to be able to break it down. And if they ask me some off the wall question, that I can try to answer it to the best of my ability. Doesn't mean every time that I'm like, oh yeah, it's this, but I'm like, you know what? I'll call you later and I'll get the answer to that.
Yeah, and pointing people in the direction of people who have the knowledge in different areas. So, you mentioned Jim's name. And, for people who want to learn combustion properly, learn evacuation processes properly, when you tap into, Jim's videos on that, because they are going to be absolutely mind-blowing and changing. Jim teaches on a very advanced level. And if you can grasp what he's saying, you're going to be a better technician for it. Absolutely. Yep. There's a number of people out there, like Jim, for compressors, Trevor Matthews, even for compressors, but now like refrigerants, Don Gillis. I appreciate that, HVAC blogger. Thanks, man. That means a lot, brother. Like Don Gillis, awesome radio voice for a podcast, but man, that guy's wicked friggin' smart. And there's so many people in our industry that are like those individuals. And when you find one of those individuals, tap into their brain anytime you get that opportunity to, because it's going to make you that stronger technician. Listen to different podcasts that are out there. Of course, listen to HVAC Uncensored, #1 rated podcast for a damn reason. And there are so many other great podcasts out there as well. And each has its own flavor and each has its own bit of, knowledge that it's curtailing to within the industry. Find one that fits for you. Like we're saying, reading manuals, take time to watch videos, take time to listen to podcasts. You're going to learn a lot just by listening to what's discussed on the podcast, whether that be something within the industry or just about life in general from the technicians that are coming on the podcast. Because, as much as we want to separate work and family life or outside of work life, it all intermingles. And, for those that are devoted to our industry, it all intermingles. So, having that, avenue to have those conversations with like-minded professionals, it helps a lot. If you're trying to talk about, your trials and tribulations and your struggles in what we do for a daily, no matter where you are in our industry, you got to have someone who's in our industry to understand it, to actually fully grasp and understand what you're going through. In the absence of that, it's falling on deaf ears. It's really, you're wasting your time, especially if you're trying to get an answer for a problem you're dealing with, whatever that issue is. It's talk to people in our industry, and once you do and start applying yourself, awesome things start happening. You start applying yourself and busting your ass, putting in that time, start learning, great things happen. People who do those things, people like Gil, and kind of people like myself, you start getting recognized for the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears you're putting in. And, things like, for those that are coming up in our industry, things like different sponsorships, like, man, just look at all the different sponsorship things across Gil's logo here on the podcast. Those don't just come with, hey, I'm doing a podcast. You want to give me a sponsorship? That comes with busting your damn ass and putting in that time.
I did this for free for a long time.
Exactly. And, things that are, happening with my social media accounts, different manufacturers coming out and wanting to work with this crazy Canuck north of the border. I've been doing Instagram for a hot minute, and it's not until recently that different manufacturers are, saying, hey, you want to test out this product or, spark up this kind of, social media relationship. And damn right I do. Let's talk and make sure that it doesn't conflict with any other partnerships that I may have. And then there's, for those that are in the social media world, keep an eye on all the different contests that are out there. You never know what contest you enter that might be one of those life-changing events. I had one of them. My entire trip down to Atlanta for AHR was because I won a contest. For those who don't know, let's see if my pointing works. That little logo up there, something along those lines is going to go on an HVAC product. I won the Solder Weld Flynn to Win contest from last year. And because of that, thank you. Because of that, I got an all expenses paid trip to Atlanta for AHR. I got tickets to go to the HVAC Tactical Awards.
Oh, what the fuck, Lance? I wanted to pay for my shit.
Lance and I will have that conversation with you. We'll see if we can hook you up. Another part of that is that logo in the upper corner there. A variant of that is going to be appearing on this year's Hot Block product. So at the HVAC Tactical Awards, Gil was I think you were seated just off to the side and in front of where I was.
Yep.
Lance did kind of a changing of the guard from Mike Flynn being the face of the contest last year to then me having to try to fill Mike Flynn's shoes. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I gotta like take over from Flintstone. Damn. I got some damn big shoes to fill. I did get a prototype tub, which is this bad guy here. And depending on the focus, hopefully you guys can get the general gist of it.
Yeah, you can see.
There's going to be something similar to that hitting the shelves in the next month. So, last year you were looking for Mike Flynn's logo on Hot Block tubs. This year you're looking for the HVAC Doctor's logo on it. You find one of those HVAC Doctor tubs, post it to your social media with the appropriate hashtags. For the Hot Block tubs, we're going with the hashtag Block with the Doc, kind of seemingly fitting with the name of the page. You could be the next face of Solder Weld Hot Block for the next year. You win that grand prize, and you're going to AHR in Chicago, all expenses paid for hotel, flight. You're going to go to HVAC Tactical. You're going to meet me up on stage so that I can pass the torch to you. And whomever the next Hot Block contest person is, man, I'm so pumped to meet you. I'm so pumped to pass the torch off. And I'm hoping to heck this year I can do half as good a job as what Mike Flynn did with the contest. Because if I can do half of what Mike did, I did my darn job in promoting this thing. I will also say, a little teaser, an HVAC Uncensored exclusive first is the Hot Block contest, the Solder Weld contest for this year. Look out for the Hot Block tubs with the HVAC Doctor logo on it, but it's going to be bigger than that. I can't tell you how bigger it's going to be, but it's definitely going to be bigger than last year. So the contest is supposed to spark up in about a month's time. So keep an eye on your socials. Lance from Solder Weld, awesome guy. You can't beat a better person than Lance.
No, Lance is the man.
Lance and I will be doing most likely an Instagram live session where we're going to drop all the details of this year's contest. You think last year's was big with Mike and what they did for a grand prize for me and just how the contest was structured? The grand prize, as far as I understand, is going to be the same, but the way the contest is going to run, it's going to be bigger and better than last year. So we're looking to improve it. And man, I am pumped to see this thing come out and drop. And I am so pumped and excited that your podcast was the first one that we got to mention what's going to come down the pike. So awesome to do that.
That's awesome. Thank you. And congratulations on that, dude, because that's awesome. Lance is absolutely amazing, dude. I've known Lance for several years now before this stuff really took off. And I'm so happy to see his success and what's going on, because Lance and his wife, they really are amazing people. I absolutely love them, love what they do. That's awesome. I'm so happy that you won that. And I can't wait to see what this whole contest does and how it goes, because I know Lance is going to do it up. He always does.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be big this year with Lance and Supco backing the entire thing. And look out. It's going to be something special this year. I'm pumped and excited for it, man. Like that time, that they were going to announce the winner for the first inaugural contest. I think I was walking through a Bed Bath & Beyond or a Costco. And I got an IG notification from Solderweld. So I open up the phone, I hit play, and it does the countdown of announcing the winner, and then my friggin' logo popped up. Dude, I almost dropped my damn phone. My hands were friggin' shaking. Like, I couldn't believe it. And for that to happen to somebody else, man, I'm so pumped for that next person to get that, man. It's absolutely friggin' awesome. It's life-changing within a certain degree. Like, it's a phenomenal thing to go through.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about whoever gets Podcast of the Year next year, man. I really did not think that I was going to win, because Tersh and Josh, Tersh is one of my very, very good friends from the Service Business Mastery podcast. He is a pioneer in the HVAC podcast world. He is the reason that we get to podcast at AHR and stuff like that. He paved the way, carrying around a microphone, doing interviews in booths. And with Nicole Bush from AHR, that's why we get to do that. And then Brian Orr, I was like, well, it's cool being nominated. You know what I mean? And when they called my name, I wish somebody had a picture. I was shocked. I want somebody else to feel that. And especially having so many friends that do this, it was amazing. That's why I'm giving my bag away from the Tactical Awards, because I have that somebody can never take it away from me. And I'll always hold that near and dear to my heart. I can't wait for somebody else to be able to have their, time in the light, because it's awesome to be recognized by your peers, and especially at an event like that where it's just so many amazing industry fucking giants and just awesome influencers there, like-minded people. It's fucking amazing. I love it, man.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait to see who the next Tech Lifeline Award winner is. When I saw the category nominees, I knew I was nominated. I knew who else was going to be nominated prior to going down there. But man, like I said in my speech going there, I honestly thought it was either going to be Dylan, HVAC Dill out of Vancouver area, or my HVAC brother from another mother, Ilya, from my neck of the woods. Because, man, those are two technicians that I have absolutely nothing but the utmost respect for. When Brent called my name, like, how friggin' awesome was it for me to go up and get an award from Mr. friggin' Tool Pros? My mind was just blown, man. To hear, is there a doctor in the house? I'm like, oh shit, they're talking about me. It was awesome. All right. I guess I gotta go back up there and say something kind of cogent and coherent and thank a whole bunch of people, because whoever goes up there next year and accepts the award category that I was in, or whoever goes up and accepts the one that Gil was in, man, like standing in front of that crowd, your mind goes blank. It's like, okay, I kind of had a general idea of what I wanted to say when I walked up there. Yeah. It's like when Ben walked up there, Ben Thompson, HVAC Strong, when he accepted his award for Best Install. Mm-hmm. I think his first words were, he held the award and went, well, fuck, shit, okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
And I have a big mouth. And it was funny because my wife was joking. She's like, well, should you write a speech? And I'm like, I don't know if I won. I'm like, and that just seems disingenuous if I get up there like, I'm so shocked that I was going to win and be like, I want to thank, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. But I will say this. I know there's a lot of people out there deserving, but I'm also going to try to be the first back-to-back HVAC Podcast Award winner. So don't think I'm not still fucking trying, people.
Hey, there you go.
It's like, nah, man, there's something out there for everyone, man. A lot of amazing shows. It's all about people getting recognized. That's all I worry about. That's why anybody that ever messaged me for help, I don't know everything about podcasting. I've had people that help, pave the way for me. That's why I try to help whoever I possibly can, man, because there's just so many awesome people out there.
You're already getting votes for next year's tactical, brother, in the chat.
Well, I appreciate it, man. There's a lot of other good people out there, you know. Adrian, Reliable, HVACR, his podcast, he's doing fucking awesome. I know they do it as a live stream, but it's still a podcast. I mean, the Misfits, you know, what Jen and Hughes Man are doing is awesome, you know. The Overtime guys. There's a whole bunch of people doing stuff. And, you know, hopefully at some point, each and every one deserves to be recognized. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
But, damn, Mr. Doctor, we are well over an hour, my friend.
Closing time, my brother, then.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. I definitely, we'll have to do this again because they always go by fast, but this went by fast, and I wish that we had some more time, dude. So I definitely would love to have you back if you're willing.
I'd absolutely love to come back on. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you, Gil. And, man, anytime, you know, just shoot me a message. We'll set something up, and you'll have this ugly mug popping back up on your screen. We'll shoot the shit about some HVAC stuff and other stuff further. And man, what can I say other than thank you so much for having me on? It was an absolute blast, and I look forward to doing it again, my friend.
Yep, my pleasure. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Congrats on everything, the Hot Block, the award, and all that. And thank you for coming. And I'll close this out.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, buddy. Man, that was awesome, dude. Matt is an awesome dude, man. I'm so glad that he came on and I got to talk to him some more. And even something as simple as finding the details behind the HVAC doctor stuff. That's cool as hell. Yeah, real fast before I close this out. Normally, you guys know I always try to support friends as much as I can. The last 2 weeks, I haven't been able to. So the Misfits, Jen and Ryan, normally I'll watch you guys every Saturday. I'm sorry I've missed the shows. I've watched them after the fact. They're fucking awesome. You guys are killing it, man. Keep doing what you're doing, you know, with those shows. My buddies over at Overtime, you know, I've missed some of those. And then obviously Adrian, Reliable, HVACR podcast. So many shows out there, man. Try to get there and watch them all. Support every single one of them. And we talk about a bunch of these people. There's a lot of people out there that are very, very good, you know, technically, and they teach you, and you learn different things when you listen to their podcast or watch their videos or whatever it is. Sometimes it's not always about learning. You know, I hope that people learn things from my podcast. Of course I do. From the guests that I have on, or maybe they may learn something that pops out of this mouth sometimes. But it's also about the community that we're building. It's like-minded people in the same place. So don't forget about that. You know, you might just be here and you're just like in the chat and you're talking and having a good time and talking to other people that do exactly what you do every day. So it's learning, yes, always keep learning, but sometimes let's keep building that community that we're there to support each other when something happens. And maybe you message somebody and, hey, man, have you ever worked on this? Yeah, man, I know everything about that. Well, shit, I got this going on. Oh, check out this. Exactly what I mean. Build that community, help each other. All right. So I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for coming back this Wednesday night to see me. We're good moving forward. God barring something happens, you know, knock on wood. But here moving forward, we're booked out for a whole bunch of shows. I rescheduled one, but we're booked out for a good little bit. I got some awesome guests coming up. I got Mr. Jimmy, Mr. HVAC teacher, coming back on here soon because one episode, just like here with Matt, wasn't enough to cover everything. So we're going to run it up again with him. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming up. Happy to be back tonight. Thank you guys for coming live to see this and for all the people that listen to the audio after the fact. Guys, remember to please download the podcast. You know, follow me on all the social media sites. It just helps me get it out to more and more people. Try to support all of them. Go subscribe to all the different ones that are out there putting in the work behind the scenes to make these podcasts and YouTube channels and Instagram and Facebook or whatever it is happen. Go out and show them all support. Remember, the way to find all my stuff is going to be my website, HVACUncensored.com. That's kind of like the easiest place to go and get everything. Just so you know, when the audio podcast comes out Monday, it's a little bit behind as far as how it links. So I think the new audio podcast, even though it comes out on all the podcast apps on Monday at 9 a.m., it doesn't hit my website until like Wednesday-ish or something like that for some reason. It's not the website. It's just how they link or something like that. So that's about it. Guys, remember, do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy. Exactly what we said. the videos, the trainings, whatever it is. Never, ever, ever stop learning. Master your craft. Be the best version of you. Be safe out there. We all have somebody to make it home to. Keep your head on a swivel. Work smart. Driving, people are crazy. So just please, please be safe. And I challenge all of you, man, is be kind to somebody. Spread positivity in the world, and that's what you're going to get back. Try to help somebody, make somebody else better, and I promise you that's going to come back to you full tilt. All right? I love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Once again, thank you all for the messages. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't even thank you enough. All right? And until next week, stay safe out there. I love you, mofos. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Oh, yeah, and if you wouldn't mind, go leave me a review wherever you get your podcasts. My analytics say I need more reviews. Thank you. See ya.